Rivers in crisis. Wike breaks silence on state of emergency, slams Fubara's leadership shocking revelations. The breaking point: why Wike supports the state of emergency in an explosive development that has sent shockwaves through Nigeria's political landscape. Former Rivers State Governor and current FOC Minister, Nyesom Wike, has finally broken his silence on the controversial state of emergency declared by President Bola Tinubu. Despite widespread legal criticisms, including fierce opposition from the Nigerian Bar Association, Wike shockingly backed the president's action, labeling it necessary to save Rivers from crisis and anarchy. This rare moment of political honesty has sparked both admiration and outrage. Wike admitted he wasn't happy that Governor Siminalayi Fubara was not impeached, boldly stating that, from a political standpoint, the governor was gone in terms of leadership. But in a surprising twist, Wike said he recognized the president's intervention as critical to preventing a complete collapse of governance in the state. This confession lays bare the power struggle that has been simmering beneath the surface, one where political ambition and constitutional duty collide. The state of emergency, Wike explained, interrupted impeachment moves by the State House of Assembly aligned with him, yet he conceded that the president had to act fast to halt the downward spiral, one that saw public institutions grinding to a halt and citizens bearing the brunt. According to Wike, key services like education and healthcare were on the verge of collapse, and the political inertia threatened to destabilize not just the state but the region. This is no longer just a political battle, it's a cautionary tale about governance, ego, and the limits of unchecked ambition. The question now is not just whether Wike was right to support the state of emergency, but what happens next if the core issues are not resolved. Can political stability return to Rivers without deeper reconciliation? Wike's verdict: a governor unfit to lead. Wike didn't mince words when asked about Fubara's performance. In his view, the governor failed spectacularly at navigating crisis and delivering effective governance. The former governor painted a grim picture of a state leader overwhelmed by chaos and unable to maintain even the most basic level of control. Wike's tone was damning. Rivers was heading toward calamity. To Wike, leadership isn't about commissioning projects or shaking hands at public events, it is about crisis management. He drew a stark contrast between his own tenure and the current one, claiming he had faced greater storms and emerged stronger because of his ability to negotiate, reconcile, and lead from the front. Fubara, he implied, lacked that political depth and leadership finesse. More worryingly, Wike accused the governor of arrogance and stubbornness, two traits he believes are preventing any meaningful reconciliation. He claimed that multiple attempts at peace, including interventions from the presidency and respected elders, had been rebuffed. In his words, "You cannot govern by stubbornness and silence when your people are crying." This public condemnation isn't just political, it's personal. Wike sees Rivers as his political legacy, and watching it unravel is clearly intolerable for him. His blistering critique may just be a power play or a desperate attempt to rescue what he sees as a sinking ship. The president's role: intervention or interference? The debate over the state of emergency has sparked a constitutional tug-of-war. Critics call it overreach, an undemocratic hijack of state power, but Wike frames it as a legitimate intervention, grounded in constitutional responsibility. The president didn't act out of impulse, he said. He acted to preserve the soul of Rivers. Under Nigeria's constitution, the president has the right to declare a state of emergency in any state where security or governance has collapsed. Wike argues this moment fit the bill. With no budget appropriations, no functioning local councils, and the Supreme Court's rulings on local government funds ignored, governance had effectively ceased. Citizens were left without salaries, education stalled, and the political class had turned the state into a battlefield. Legal groups like the NBA say this sets a dangerous precedent, but Wike counters that ignoring the situation would have been worse. In his view, the president acted not as a political godfather but as a last line of defense for a state on the brink. Yet this raises troubling questions. If a president can step in so easily, does this erode the power of the states? And if political actors like Wike can cheer from the sidelines, are we seeing federalism slowly giving way to centralized control cloaked as crisis management? The road to peace: what must Fubara do now? Despite the political heat, Wike insists there is still a path to peace, but only if Governor Fubara swallows his pride and takes action. He must apologize and seek forgiveness, Wike declared, referencing the parable of the prodigal son. It's a heavy metaphor, suggesting not just reconciliation, but repentance. According to Wike, dialogue must replace ego. Fubara should sit with political elders, work with his predecessor, and actively engage those he's sidelined. Most importantly, he must respect court decisions, abandon informal negotiation tactics, and focus on the people's welfare, particularly those unpaid workers and struggling families. But Wike's demands come with an undertone of political positioning. Is this really about peace or control? While he calls for unity, critics say Wike wants to remain the kingmaker in rivers, pulling strings behind the scenes. Still, the reality remains. Without serious action from the governor, the crisis may only deepen. At the heart of this mess is a painful irony: two powerful politicians fighting for control while their people suffer. Until humility replaces hostility and negotiation replaces noise, Rivers State may remain trapped in political paralysis. The time for talk is running out. This crisis isn't just about politics, it's a masterclass in leadership failure, federal power dynamics, and the cost of political pride. As Rivers burns, Nigerians are watching. Will this be a turning point or just another political tragedy?
Years now to this issue of the state of emergency declared by the president in your home state, Rivers State. You haven't quite said anything since that state of emergency was declared, but quite a number of people, including the NBA, the Nigerian Bar Association, has come out to say that the president's declaration was unconstitutional. Politically speaking, though, there are those who say that you might be unhappy because it does appear that since the Supreme Court judgment, members of the State House of Assembly who, have stayed, let's say, loyal to you, were gearing up to impeach the governor. And some people have said, politically speaking, perhaps that was a move to, save the situation in Rivers State. What exactly is your own permutation and your thinking since the state of emergency was declared in your state?
Margaret, do you want me to tell you the truth?
I'm listening.
As a politician, I'm not happy. I wanted outright removal of the governor. As a politician, I'm not happy. But for the interest of the state, the president did the right thing.
As a lawyer?
No, I'm coming. Already the matter is in court. But people must say the truth. The governor was gone. He was gone. Yes, he was gone. So when people say, President did this, I say, look, if that's where they should be worshiping, they should be worshiping Mr. President. Every morning go to the President, can we wash your feet for serving us? How? Mind you, Supreme Court has said no money can go to local government when it's not democratically elected. Mind you, Supreme Court has said nobody will go to the state without appropriation. In that situation, there was crisis. All institutions will be shut down. Health will be crisis. Education will be crisis. It is not in my place to make it good for the governor.
What about your state?
And that's what I'm saying as a politician. It is not in my place to make the governor to be happy. It's not me. My business is not to make him comfortable. And that's why there's power play.
It's part of the role you play.
Now, the point I'm trying to make, Mr. President came in and saved the situation, saved the vast people of that calamity, of that anarchy.
Oh, so you know it was going to cause calamity if the governor was impeached?
What calamity? That the governor is removed? Was it a coup? The Constitution provides that if there's an infraction of the Constitution, that you can be impeached. I don't know people who are working towards today for the president not to go back for second term. Is it a crime? If they had their way to impeach Mr. President in National Assembly, would they do it? You think that they are comfortable to stop to 2 years? Who told you that? I never told anybody that I'm a pastor or a imam. It's a power game. But any people must face the reality. The governor cannot think that, this and that, if governor is removed, this will happen. What will happen?
Yes, but I've asked you
so
that.
So the point I'm making is that President saved the situation. And that's what they didn't understand when Attorney General said that they should even thank Mr. president for serving them.
A lot of people have accused Mr. President as bias, saying that you would have been suspended.
Suspended for doing
Yes,
what?
that you have been
That
suspended
you're
as a
one leg
minister.
of the problem. You're also one leg of the
You are
problem.
agent provocateur.
Listen now, one of listening. What's the problem? I don't know cause a problem for president.
And you instigated
To hold on. Are you not hearing coalition? What's the essence of coalition? To make sure the president does not return. Are they making president to sleep every day? Has anybody killed anybody? Is president folding his hands to say, he's the right what to be now? He's also working by delivering the dividend of democracy to the best of his ability. He's not going to sleep. Mr. President has a good relationship with the National Assembly. For Christ's sake.
Your Excellency,
Okay,
Why-
Your Excellency,
hold on,
just
hold
a
on.
moment.
You see, I have told you here, governance is not about awarding contracts. It's not only about awarding contracts. Governance is not only about inspecting project, commissioning project. Your capacity, ability to navigate is key. If as a governor, you have crisis, you don't know how to navigate, to put your people in check to make sure you are calm, your governance is going through. I suffered it. The powers that be at the national level didn't want me to survive. Did I go to church to cry? Did I go to mosque to cry? I came back. I sat down. I said, listen, we have problem. How do we do? We have to navigate this. How do I navigate it?
Okay, all right.
Let me finish. So that give people the opportunity to hear from us. So this attitude of the governor, if it's removed of the crisis, the Constitution provided for it.
But
And therefore, you must also be careful. The kind of infraction. Look at what Supreme Court said. Am I the one? That you are ruling as a despot.